Meet the Teacher Night is one of the most important nights of the school year, and one of the biggest mistakes teachers make is thinking it's all about having a perfectly decorated classroom. But it's not. After 35 years of teaching, I've had a lot of Meet the Teacher Nights, and I can tell you that a successful night has a lot less to do with having a Pinterest perfect classroom and a lot more to do with being prepared. So let's talk about 5 mistakes teachers make at Meet the Teacher Night and what you should do instead. Mistake number 1 is thinking your classroom has to be completely finished and Pinterest perfect before families walk through the door. And it really doesn't, but it should be clean and neat and organized. Imagine walking into your child's classroom for the first time and seeing boxes piled up everywhere and papers scattered around the room. It doesn't make a very good first impression. So instead of worrying about making everything perfect, concentrate instead on making your classroom feel clean and welcoming. Get your furniture arranged, unpack the boxes, put some fresh paper and border on your bulletin boards. You don't have to decorate them because you really want to save that space for your students' work. And one thing you definitely want to do is label your students' spaces. Put their names on their desks, cubbies, mailboxes, or wherever they're going to keep their things. Kids love walking into a classroom and finding their name. It just makes them feel like they belong. So your room doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to look like you're ready for them. All right, mistake number 2 is just letting everybody wander around the room with no plan. There's really nothing worse for parents than to just be sort of standing around wondering what they're supposed to do. If parents don't know where to go, or kids are getting into things that they shouldn't, and you're trying to answer 5 questions from different parents at once, you don't want that. So instead, you need to have a plan for the evening. You want to greet your families at the door and tell them exactly what you'd like them to do. For my Meet the Teacher Night, I like to have stations where parents and kids had different tasks to do. So for instance, they started at station 1 where parents would sign in and the kids would put on a name tag. That way, I could be calling them by name since I didn't really know a lot of the kids yet. And then they'd go on to station 2 where they would drop off their school supplies. At station 3, parents would pick up their back-to-school packet and they could start filling out some important forms. And then at station 4, there was a scavenger hunt where parents and kids could sort of get to know the classroom by searching for things like their cubby, their mailbox, the restroom, things like that. And then finally at the last station, I always had a little welcome gift for the kids. I did different things over the years. One year it was a little baggie of Starburst candy that said, "I'm bursting with excitement to have you in my class." So when you set up stations like that or have them do a scavenger hunt or something, it gives parents something to do. Because remember, most parents and kids are a little uncomfortable at this first meeting. They don't really know what they're supposed to be doing. Plus, it keeps kids from getting wild and into everything. And it gives you a chance to greet everybody at the door while the rest of them are busy doing all the other things. So when you have a plan and lead the evening in a confident way, everybody feels more comfortable. All right, mistake number 3 is trying to remember everything you need to tell parents. There is so much information to give parents at the beginning of the year, and one of the biggest mistakes that you can make is just trying to remember all of it off the top of your head. So instead, I think it's a good idea to have some kind of presentation that you can refer to. I always like to use Meet the Teacher slides on my board because they helped me remember everything that I wanted to say, and really it just made the presentation look organized and professional. You can include things like your daily schedule, your classroom rules, breakfast and lunch procedures, transportation procedures, homework expectations, grading, discipline, how you plan to communicate with parents throughout the year, volunteering opportunities for parents. Basically, anything that parents need to know, you need to have that in your presentation. And it shouldn't be super long, just quick bullet points. You really don't want it to be longer than about 15 minutes because kids and parents are going to start to get antsy. If you want to make a presentation, but you aren't really sure where to get started, I have some Meet the Teacher slides in my TPT store, and I'll link those below. You can change them to fit your classroom. Everything's editable. All right, mistake number 4 is giving parents lots of information, but not collecting any. Meet the Teacher Night is one of the best opportunities to get all the paperwork that you need from parents. Instead of chasing down forms and email addresses during the first week of school, get as much of that taken care of as you can before school even starts. Have your important classroom forms ready for parents to fill out. You might need stuff like student information, emergency contacts, transportation information, dismissal information, or maybe other important papers from the office. I used to have a one-page sheet that I always had parents fill out that said, in a million words or less, tell me everything about your child that makes them feel special and all the reasons that I'm going to love having them in class. I really love this page because it gave parents a chance to sort of brag about their child, which parents love to do. Plus, it just gave me a little insight into who each child was. I could learn about things that they liked, things that they were afraid of, sports that they were in, just all sorts of stuff. And that helped me begin to build a relationship with them before school even started. And building relationships with your kids is really the backbone of classroom management. And if you want parent volunteers during the year, now is the time to ask. Put those volunteer sign-up sheets out with some pencils and let parents sign up for parties and field trips, classroom help, or whatever you're going to need during the year. The more information you can collect now, the less you'll be chasing after once school starts. All right, and finally, mistake number 5, don't wait until the first day of school to deal with a mountain of school supplies. If you teach kindergarten or first grade, you already know how this goes. 20 kids walk through the door on the first day of school carrying backpacks filled with tissues and crayons and glue sticks and folders and pencils, and suddenly you have supplies piled up everywhere. Well, instead of that, ask families to bring school supplies to meet the teacher night. Put labeled bins around your classroom or hallway and let parents and kids sort their supplies for you. Crayons go in this basket, glue sticks go in this basket, tissues over here. This gives families something to do when they arrive, and it's going to save you so much time. Then when the first day of school comes, your supplies are already organized and put away, and you can concentrate on your students that first morning instead of digging through a pile of supplies. So Meet the Teacher Night doesn't have to be stressful, and your classroom doesn't have to be Pinterest perfect. You just need a plan. Make your classroom welcoming, give families something to do, have your information organized, collect what you need from parents, and take care of those school supplies before the first day. Because the goal of Meet the Teacher Night isn't just to impress parents. It's to help them walk out of your classroom thinking, my child's going to be okay here. I think they're going to love it. If you want some help getting everything ready, I'll put the link to everything that I talked about today down below. And now that you're ready for Meet the Teacher Night, your next step is the first day of school. So head on over to this next video where you can learn step by step exactly what to do on the very first day of school. And until next time, remember to make learning feel like play. Talk to you soon.